Greetings, everybody. I'm sure you noticed that I stayed away from talking about the Vegas situation, although individuals asked me to chime in on it. But I wanted to wait until I had more information and, understand that anybody can tell a story based on the vantage point that they have. So when you look at a video and you look at it from different angles, you're going to see different things. When an investigation is early on, any number of things can surface at the very beginning stages, and for you to jump and to make a decision about what you see will therefore show your prejudice, or same thing, bias, or perhaps your inability to reason without being too emotional. So the video that went viral with the security guard and let's call him the man in the suit, as he's affectionately known now, had the security guard in the wrong. And though technically what he did was wrong, but you have to look at the big picture to be able to justify or to, vindicate or condemn somebody. Now, based on the little short clip that people saw with Vegas talking, I can't believe the amount of people from Jamaica who has issues with this man who is not troubling anybody. He's not molesting any kids, he's not abusing women, he's not committing crime, he's not violating, humanity. He's just giving his opinion. I never knew that people could just hate. It's kind of scary to see that people could just hate you so much because you have a mind of your own and because you choose to speak. The same people who are speaking are condemning the man for speaking. The people have so much to say about him and what he has to say, and don't understand that it's their given right to critique him as it is his right to speak out on the issues that are of concern to him. It's very scary. It's very scary indeed. So I want people to understand that we all go through different stages of grief. And look it up for yourself what they are, and then you get to the point of acceptance. And I think for Mr. Vegas, he's always been very vocal. First it was just about the music, and then branches out into other things. But what people have to understand is that when you come face to face with racism, it really puts you to that many stages of grief. And then you come to acceptance, and in the acceptance of yourself and understanding more, because until you experience this thing, you don't know what it's like. So now it's like people who become Christians when they first go into the church, or people who lose weight when they first lose weight. You can't hear enough of it. Or women who want to have children, and when they're not able for many years, when they finally get pregnant, you cannot hear the end of it. That's just how it is. Naturally, when you want something and you're working towards that thing, you're talking about it less. But when it comes into your life, you're so excited, you're so happy about it. So Mr. Vegas has found, and is growing, and he's found a new part of himself that he's exploring, and so he feels excited to share it, just like anybody who's learning. I'm always trying to share what I know with people. When I was a student, and I had my older women friends that taught me so much. When I went to school and learned academic things, I taught them. I would sit on the phone and read my literature book to people, and I would teach them, what certain things mean, saying that if you saw brown sugar, it's not about brown sugar, it was about slavery, trying to teach them literature and understanding, how it works that way. People who wouldn't have access to this. I have brought senior citizens to classrooms with me. I'm going to the university, and they never went to school. So one of my dearest, oldest friend, Amy, I brought her to the university with me because she said she never went to school. And I said, I want you to experience this, to know what it's like. I brought her into a theater with over 500 students and sat there with her and took notes with her and make her listen to my lecture. Just she feel that. Because she was a very intelligent woman, but she didn't have that opportunity. So when you're learning things, you're excited, you want to share it. So it really makes me very sad to see how people are attacking this man in his excitement to learn more. It's just pathetic. And I hear a lot of women who could benefit from some learning. I wish they would open more books and read a little bit more. And maybe that would influence their self-esteem so they wouldn't get used so much by men. They wouldn't get violated so much. Jumping all over. And as I always say, individuals come to critique you for your behavior. And when you see the way they respond to your behavior, the things that you're saying, it's so atrocious. It's so disgusting. So I want to say here and now that Mr. Vegas, whatever it is you're going through, whatever you're learning and however deep you're growing, understand that you're doing this for yourself and not for the people. If you start thinking that you're doing it, and I get the feeling that you're not doing it for the people, I get the feeling you're doing it for yourself, you know, growing, and then in the process of growing, you're imparting your knowledge to the people. Because if you were just doing it for yourself, you would have stopped, because they've given you nothing but hate. Now, I don't want to go any further with that. I just want to say, bless up yourself, brother. You know, I have a few Jamaican brethren that I associate with, whether here on YouTube or there in Jamaica. Big up yourself, Claude Sinclair. You know, you're one of those persons who gave me the opportunity to attend something that really changed my mind about certain things and made me feel like, you know what, I know what it's like to walk this journey, to understand what it's like for a man like Paul Bogle to stand up and defend himself and defend his people. Because at the time when Paul Bogle was marching down to that courthouse, he was in a good position. He didn't have to do that, just like Vegas. He doesn't have to do. I'm not saying Vegas is Paul Bogle. I'm just saying it's the same thing. Somebody rise up, somebody get up and say, you know what, this is social injustice and I can't just ignore this. Mandela, Winnie Mandela, and Nelson Mandela, they didn't have to. They were privileged people. They were educated people. They could have just gone for the career path and just the money. They were bright. They could have climbed high and reached many heights if they just focused on themselves. But what I want you to understand, some of you people who have no wisdom, no fault of your own, is that the universe, our God, you would say, picks, appoints prophets and prophetesses, kings and queens. Not everybody's going to be a king and a queen. Not everybody's going to be a prophet or a prophetess. And I'm not using it in the Christian sense, but I'm talking about individuals who have insight, who have wisdom, who take time to know themselves, and to whom the spirits in the atmosphere chooses to use, to lead, to do whatever. And many who are blinded will never understand that what you sometimes do is not your own will. Sometimes there are individuals who are out there and all they're getting is hate, like Mr. Vegas, for example, but it's still pushing. People can't understand that because they're thinking it's a self thing. They're not understanding that there are things bigger than you. There are spirits within the spirits that guides you, that instructs you, and if you don't do what you're asked to do, you're punished. It sounds foolish to the people who think on that surface level and don't understand the depth of the spirit to say, get up and move and do this thing. And the moment you know and learn and hear and understand that voice and you respond, everything is good. I told you yesterday about the child, after hearing the story, been led by the spirit to say, so what are you going to do about this? And I'm like, what am I supposed to know? Is just hearing this conversation. I don't know these people. I don't know where they live. I have no information. And it's like I had to get up and say, okay, if you are going to use me to resolve this situation, then lead me. See, you have to show that you're ready. You're prepared to take that move. You're prepared to act, even if you die. So for me, I can be very cowardly like anybody else, but when I hear that voice, that distinct voice that I know, that I recognize, that tells me move, I don't care who you are. You could be the king of Bahrain, whomever you consider to be great and powerful. If I am directed by the divine within to do whatever, I have no fear. And so what you're seeing in Jamaica, please understand, it's not hate, Mr. Vegas. It's not that they hate you, it's they hate themselves. And they're so accustomed, as people, we're so accustomed to abuse in all its various forms. And don't think that abuse is just from other groups of people. It's within our own groups, within ourselves, because we abuse each other, we abuse ourselves. So any level of abuse, once you get accustomed to that, it's very difficult to move away from it. And I find that when individuals hear new information, especially black people in many of our black communities, when you introduce them to new information, they resist. Because why? It isn't that they don't want to learn, they don't want to change. So by resisting it, when they are forced to confront it or face it, it makes them understand that you are participating in your own destruction, and they just don't want to change. They would rather blame it on the other person than understand that yes, these things happen to us and this is unfortunate, but we all play a role in our own survival. We play a role in our own demise. We play a role in everything that we do. What we choose to do or not do ultimately affects our life one way or the other. So I always say, and I know this channel was created from a place where I was really hurt and, you know, felt resentment. And after a while I moved past the resentment, and then I started doing my research and started learning more and start teaching more of what I understood. But I realized that a lot of my own people were more disrespectful in a lot of ways than other persons. And what I have to say, there have been people that come on this channel. I've had white folks come on this channel and ask me questions. Or white folks come on here and validate. There's a gentleman that I don't see him making anymore. I think his name was Steve or something, who would come and confirm some of what I'm saying, even though he's a white man. Of course, maybe Steve might say things to me and I get very sarcastic and rude, because I tell you sometimes I can be rude depending on, you know, the state of mind that I'm in. But it doesn't matter. I would watch someone's video and I would hear them saying things and I would disagree with them, and I state how I feel about it. Doesn't mean I don't like you. Doesn't mean that after I don't tell you that you are this or that, and tomorrow you come and you say something and it's the truth, I'm not gonna come back. This is why I respect, and I keep calling his name recently, but this is why I respect SoFlo to a certain extent, because I've gone in on him many times. Many times I've gone in on him. But, you know, some people will just block me forever. But when I see him saying something that is the truth and I go and I give him my endorsement, he welcomes me all the time. Same thing with my friend Claude Sinclair. If he's saying something that I don't agree with, I'll say I disagree. But if I even don't comment for the longest while, when I go, he accepts me. I like those kind of people. A lot of us, we just hold grudge and malice towards our own. We are very prepared to forgive other people who actually hate us, you know, and just hate upon everybody. I will not hate everybody. I will not have this random disregard for all people because even the group that they belong to have done terrible things. I have to treat people as individuals. You speak of the bad things that some people do, but in general, you can't generalize everybody and say they're all. So saying one thing and doing something else, you know, is complete. First off, for example, I speak about racism all the time. I speak about stuff that our ancestors have gone through, and I am not going to forget it. It's hard for me to forget it when I'm experiencing some of it myself. But when I meet people, I don't just look at the person and say, yeah, you know, you are black or you're white or you're Asian or whatever, therefore you're gonna do this to me. I let you prove who you are to me, and then I decide what our relationship is going to be going forward. And I wish they would do the same to Vegas. Many of these individuals don't know this man. Just hear him say a little sound bite, a little clip here and there, and before you know it, they're killing him. So this is why people are afraid. Many people are afraid to stand up for our causes, because they know the very people that they stand up for will then turn around and gang them and tie them up and hand them over to the ones who they're trying to save them from. Do you understand? So when I see the video released now, the full story, I am sure that people are going to still find a way to hate upon Vegas, even though he is played a very pivotal role in bringing the information out there and confirming it. But because he's a man who is strong, He's growing in wisdom. He's a person who is not trying to prove anything to anybody. From the moment they start ganging him and mocking him and ridiculing him, he could have said everything that I saw in the video today, but he still kept it. He just because he knows himself. When you know yourself, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. The situation in Jamaica, as it is a very serious one, because people have become so accustomed to abuse. People have become so accustomed to neglect that when they see one of their own coming out and saying and pointing out the obvious, it bothers them because they are cowards and they don't have the thing in them, that light, that power within them to get up and say enough. So when you're pointing it out, you're telling them this is foolishness and this, you should let this happen to you, and people are going to hate upon you because when you put it out there, you force them to face it or to deal with it, and they don't want to deal with it. Do you understand? You force them to confront that this thing here that is happening is not right and is not good and whatever. It's like the more you talk about it, African people, and I'm generalizing here, but the ones that find themselves in perpetual struggles and so on, they would rather just say, oh well, God is going to deliver me. Let's just leave it to God, because they did that 400 years waiting for God to deliver them, and guess what happened? You know who delivered them? The individuals who got up and say enough. You know, the Marcus Garvey, the Sam Sharp, the Paul Bogle, you know, the Nelson Mandela, the Martin Luther King, the Steve Biko. The individuals didn't wait for God, because you are born with the ability to think for yourself and to stand up in your own defense, but in the defense of other people. Not everybody is going to be able to do that. You know, in our time, it's going to be difficult to find, you know, individuals who have done what Paul Bogle did, because he was a rich man. He was a rich man. How many people in their wealth and their privilege and their comfort, why you think Hollywood is the way it is with some of these black men who finally, at the end of the day anyway, find themselves right back where the other persons have been all these years? They're afraid to lose their privileges. They're afraid to speak up. So they don't talk about anything political. They don't talk, they're politically correct. They don't want to say anything that is going to cause them their privilege and their thing. So when you see a man like Vegas, who has every damn thing to lose, come out and still speak out, I personally respect him. Because it's not easy to be saying these things knowing that it could affect your career, and you still do it. And people, they're so dumb. They're not seeing that. And what I know is there's this kind of gang mentality in Jamaica, where individuals definitely not thinking for themselves, because if they were listening, big up yourself, Miss Kitty. Big up yourself, Miss Kitty. I always have to call her name. Big up yourself, lady. Because, you know, they can't. Miss Kitty was on her show, and a bunch of women was in that room talking to her, and there was only one voice of reasoning. All of them just listen to what the other person says, and everybody started saying. If you notice, when these videos go viral, majority of them say the same thing. You barely see a dissenting voice. You barely see a dissenting voice, because they can't think for themselves. But when they hear someone else speak, they speak passionately as if it's their views, and they don't understand. It's not your view. It's that sort of cult-like following. You just want someone who they put up on a pedestal, who they consider to be intelligent and important, and then they'll go with that voice. You understand? They go with that voice. So if our people had more individuals, that's why you have some groups of people who do so well, because there's more individuals that have that single mind, that can stand up for themselves and defend themselves and pursue their own dreams and go after what they want. There's more of them in their group that have that individual mind, and they learn how to come together collectively. No, we tend to move in this, you know, sheep-like existence and wait for the grandmaster sheep to lead us to destruction. So the video comes out and you get to see it. I heard people saying, oh, the man is so cool because he didn't even swear, but yet when this video comes out, you hear him chopping some BC and whatnot. And he was so innocent. He was a victim. It's about vantage point, people. until you can get to see left, right, up, down, inside, out. You can't come up and be so emotional about these things until you can see it. And I know a little clip can really throw you off, but there's always more to the story. So once again, big up yourself, Mr. Vegas. This is what I want to say to you publicly in front of the whole world, that not even you know exactly what is happening to you just yet. Because at the moment you might think, oh yeah, I'm doing this, I'm called to do this, but it's deep, and you're gonna find yourself in more. But one of these days they won't hear your voice anymore in Jamaica. Your voice will be silenced, not because you're not around, but because after you have done your mission, after your purpose is fulfilled, then there will be no more reason to speak. You'll be silent, and you'll start talking about nonsense, and you're not touching those subjects anymore, you know, because you already did your work. And after you put your work up there, years pass, and then everything you're saying start to unfold, and then they start to appreciate you, because oftentimes our people only appreciate you after you're dead and gone, and while you're there trying to awaken them, you know, and teach them, they never really appreciate you. They did not appreciate Marcus Garvey. Look at his sermons, look at his messages, read the opinions of Marcus Garvey. Claude, thank you for referring me for that book. Read it and hear how many times he was there talking to them when he went there when he started his political party and was trying to tell him where he wanted to go. They were mocking him the same way. You remember the names they called Bob Marley? Dirty Rasta ganja smoking boy. Yes, same Bob Marley who they call it legend. So that's what they don't like their own people. Anybody else comes with the same message, they jump and love them, and they'll kill you for their own. They'll kill their own. I don't want to generalize, not everybody, but the cult-like masses. They love abuse. That's why political governments have railroaded them for years and just get them something sweet to drink. Yes, that's why they've been able to do that for so long in Jamaica, because they don't like thinking for themselves, and the governments have learned how, and that's why they didn't push education a lot of people, because once you're educated, once you're smart, you're not going to accept certain things. Keeping any country that keep people ignorant, that doesn't promote education, is a country that knows that it benefits from people's ignorance, and they will never teach you how to take the power from them. Do you understand that? So the countries in the world that promotes education, and if places like this, for example, that want the kids to be educated, want individuals to pursue and give you opportunity to gain that, are people who understand the value of how people have in their own mind, allowing creative energy in everybody to come out, come forth and produce. So I ain't fighting for black people. I just speak my experience. I just, you know, share what I know. I do my little commentary here and there, but I'm not preaching too much anymore, because I realize the stuff is very deep, and even the individuals who come out to preach, we all have things we need to work on to strengthen our resolve and to learn and to grow. Be blessed, everyone.